When the morning finds you before your thoughts scatter and the world makes its demands, there is a quiet voice rising within you. It is gentle, but it is ancient. It is soft, but it is steady. And every day it arrives with the dawn, hoping you will pause long enough to hear it. When you wake, the universe leans close, offering you a whisper of direction, a breath of courage, a reminder of who you truly are beneath yesterday's burdens. Most people rush past this moment, running toward the noise, toward the expectations, toward the familiar chaos. But if you choose, just for a breath, to listen when you wake up, you will find that morning is not simply the beginning of a day, it is an invitation to rise differently, to step into yourself more fully, to hear what life has been trying to tell you all along. Every sunrise carries a message. Listen before the world gets loud. In those first tender moments of waking, when your eyes are still soft with sleep and your spirit has not yet tightened itself around the weight of the day, life speaks to you with a clarity that disappears as soon as you rush into motion. There is a truth in the morning air, a purity in that thin line between dreaming and doing. If you allow yourself to pause, even for a breath, you will notice that the world has not yet built its noise around you. No demands, no doubts, no comparisons, only a quiet message meant solely for you. It comes like a gentle knock on the door of your soul, asking if you are ready to discover what today could truly mean. So many of us spend our lives chasing wisdom in the wrong places. We look for answers in the rush, in the crowd, in the chaos. But the universe does not shout its guidance, it whispers it. And the whisper is clearest at sunrise. That small moment when the light begins to stretch across the sky is not simply a routine of nature. It is a reminder that beginnings do not need to be loud to be powerful. The sun does not burst in with noise. It rises with intention, with grace, with certainty. And that is how the message inside you arrives as well, soft but sure, waiting for you to receive it. When you wake and the world is still hushed, your heart is more open. Your mind is not yet tangled with yesterday's disappointments or tomorrow's worries. In that stillness, your inner voice stands tall, unafraid, unfiltered, and honest. It tells you what you need, not what others expect. It tells you what you feel, not what you fear. It speaks to you about the strength you have carried quietly, the dreams you have neglected, the healing you have avoided, and the courage you have forgotten was yours. This is why listening in those first moments matters, because that soft voice inside you is the one that holds your truth. As the day grows louder, that voice becomes harder to hear. Responsibilities rise, distractions crowd in, people's opinions rush and swirl around you. Soon, you find yourself moving through hours without ever touching the guidance you were offered at sunrise. But when you choose to listen early, before the world lays its claim on your attention, you anchor yourself in purpose. You walk into the day prepared, centered, and strengthened. You begin not from confusion, but from clarity, not from fear, but from alignment. Every sunrise offers you a message, and every day asks if you received it. Listen before the noise steals your focus. Listen before the world tells you who to be. Listen before doubts disguise themselves as truth. The quiet of the morning is not empty. It is rich with direction. And if you honor that moment, if you open yourself to the wisdom carried in the dawn, you will step into your day with the kind of peace, conviction, and courage that cannot be shaken. Your first thought of the day is your soul whispering truth. Honor it. In those first fragile seconds after waking, before memory gathers itself and before responsibility tightens its grip, there is a quiet purity in your mind. That very first thought is untouched by the world. It comes before doubt, before hesitation, before you start editing yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. It rises from a deeper place, a place untouched by fear or noise, a place where your soul speaks with its natural voice. Most people dismiss that moment, brushing it aside as something too small to matter. But it is in that softness that your truth tries to reach. That first thought is not random. It is not accidental. It is a reflection of everything you truly desire, everything you quietly fear, everything you deeply know but often ignore. Sometimes it shows up as a feeling, an urge to slow down, to change direction, to heal, to begin again. Other times it comes as a spark of courage that says, you can try, even before your doubts wake up and start arguing with it. And there are mornings when it emerges as a gentle ache, reminding you that something in your spirit needs tending. Whatever form it takes, that first whisper is the closest you will come to hearing your inner self without interruption. But honoring that whisper means you must be willing to acknowledge it. You must give it space. You must let it exist without immediately shutting it down. Too often we wake up and silence ourselves before the day even begins. We push away the truth because it asks us to be brave. It asks us to change something, to leave something, to pursue something, to face something we have avoided. And yet, the voice inside you keeps returning every morning, faithful and patient, hoping one day you will finally listen. It does not demand, it simply invites. And the invitation is always to live closer to who you really are. When you honor your first thought, you honor your spirit. You give yourself permission to acknowledge your needs and your dreams without apology. You allow your deeper wisdom to lead your day instead of your fears. And you begin to build a life that reflects your truth rather than your obligations. This does not mean every first thought will be perfect or polished. Some mornings it may be messy, emotional, confusing, but even then it is honest, and honesty is the foundation of every meaningful transformation. The world will try all day to drown out your truth with noise, with urgency, with comparison, with pressure. That is why the morning whisper matters so deeply. It is the one moment when your soul speaks before the world interrupts. When you honor it, you walk into your day aligned with yourself instead of disconnected from yourself. You move with intention instead of habit. You breathe with purpose instead of panic. And slowly, with each day you choose to listen, you begin shaping a life that feels less like survival and more like belonging, belonging to your own heart, your own path, your own truth. Morning clarity is the universe placing wisdom gently in your hands. There is a tenderness in those early moments that cannot be found anywhere else in the day. Before the world begins its hurried motion, before expectations wrap themselves around your shoulders, before you remember yesterday's wounds or tomorrow's concerns, there is a clean, untouched clarity waiting for you. It sits quietly, like a gift placed at your doorstep while you sleep. And when you open your eyes, that gift opens with you. It does not shout for your attention. It simply rests there, hoping you will notice its presence. The universe has a language that is soft but sure, a way of offering guidance without force. Morning clarity is one of the purest forms of that language. In that stillness between waking and rising, you are given insight that is free of fear, free of pressure, free of noise. It is like warm light breaking through a window, gentle enough not to startle you, but bright enough to show you the truth that darkness hid. This wisdom doesn't demand immediate action. It doesn't insist that you make decisions while you're still wiping sleep from your eyes. Instead, it lays itself in your hands with patience, trusting that you will receive it when you are ready. There are people who believe wisdom comes only from struggle, from storms, from fire. And yes, hardship teaches us, but not every lesson needs to be carved from pain. The morning teaches gently. It teaches through quiet, through openness, through the simple act of being present. When you allow yourself to sit in that clarity, even for a moment, you begin to see the things you overlooked while rushing through your life. You notice the answers you already carry. You feel the shift inside you, small but unmistakable, telling you what needs your attention and what no longer deserves your energy. Wisdom placed gently in your hands is a reminder that you do not have to force your life into understanding. You do not have to chase meaning through exhaustion or run toward every distraction that promises direction. Life is already speaking to you. The problem is not that guidance is missing, it is that the world has grown too loud. But morning clarity arrives before the noise, before the world remembers to overwhelm you. It arrives like a visitor who knocks softly, waiting to be welcomed, not demanding entry. When you choose to acknowledge this quiet wisdom, you begin to navigate your day from a deeper place. You walk with steadiness, not because the path is easy, but because the foundation beneath your steps is understood. You stop rushing to fix things that were never yours to carry. You stop ignoring the inner pull that asks for change. You stop silencing the truths that rise with the sun. In this way, morning clarity becomes not just a moment, but a practice of listening, a practice of receiving, a practice of trusting that the universe is not distant or indifferent, but present and generous. And every time you accept that wisdom, every time you sit with it long enough to recognize its softness, you strengthen your connection to the life you are meant to live. You begin your day not by reacting to the world, but by understanding yourself. And that, more than anything, is the quiet power of morning clarity, the universe placing wisdom gently in your hands and trusting you to rise with it. Stillness at dawn is not empty, it is full of guidance waiting for you. In those early hours, when the light has only just begun to stretch across the sky and everything seems hushed, you might think the world is offering you nothing. You might believe the silence holds no answers, no direction, no comfort. But stillness is never truly still. It is alive with messages you can only hear when you slow down enough to receive them. The dawn does not compete for your attention. It simply arrives, soft and patient, carrying a wisdom that reveals itself only to those who are willing to pause. Most people rush through the morning, eager to outrun their worries or chase their responsibilities. They miss the sacredness of that quiet hour. Yet it is in that quietness where the world speaks most clearly. The silence is not a void, but a canvas, wide open, ready to hold whatever truth you have been too distracted to notice. It is in that stillness that your breath becomes a teacher, your heartbeat becomes a reminder, and your thoughts settle long enough for clarity to rise to the surface. What you call emptiness is actually space, space for answers to emerge, space for understanding to bloom, space for direction to take shape without force. The guidance hidden in dawn's stillness is gentle. It does not push you, it nudges you, it invites you. It asks you to look inside yourself with honesty, to listen without running, to feel without resisting. In the quiet, you become aware of the things you have ignored during the noise of your days, the dream that keeps returning to you, the change you know you must make, the habit that no longer serves you, the relationship that drains you, the purpose you have been postponing. Stillness reveals what distraction has buried, and it does so with grace, never with judgment. If you allow yourself to sit in that dawn stillness, even for a few breaths, you will notice how your mind begins to unclench, how your worries lose their urgency, how your thoughts stop racing long enough for truth to step forward. There is a clarity available at dawn that cannot be found once the world fully awakens. The day pulls you in many directions, toward tasks, toward people, toward obligations, but the dawn pulls you inward, toward yourself. And that inward journey is where real guidance lives. Many people fear stillness because it reveals what they have been running from, but avoiding it only delays what your heart already knows. Dawn offers a gentle path back to yourself. There is nothing to prove in that moment, nothing to achieve, nothing to compare. There is only you, the rising light, and the quiet wisdom flowing between them. That space is where the answers you seek begin to take form. So when you wake, resist the urge to fill the silence with noise. Let the stillness speak. Let it remind you of who you are becoming. Let it show you where you need to go, what you need to release, and what part of yourself is ready to rise. The dawn is not empty. It is generous, abundant with guidance, rich with truth. All it asks is that you quiet yourself long enough to hear its offering. Life speaks in soft tones at sunrise. Those who listen walk with purpose. There is something sacred in the way the morning begins, not with thunder or urgency, but with a whisper. The world does not come alive all at once. It unfolds slowly, gently, like a truth that wants to be understood rather than rushed. The birds do not scream their songs, they offer them. The wind does not demand attention, it brushes quietly against the world. Even the light itself chooses not to burst, but to ease its way into the sky. Everything in the morning teaches you that power does not always need to be loud, and guidance does not always arrive with force. Sometimes the deepest truths reach you in soft tones, meant only for ears willing to hear. When you choose to listen at sunrise, you step into a different kind of awareness. You begin your day not as someone pushed by the world, but as someone guided by it. That soft voice, call it intuition, call it wisdom, call it the language of life, becomes clearer when the noise has not yet taken hold. It speaks to you about what truly matters, about the direction you have been avoiding, about the decisions you have buried beneath busyness. It reminds you of the strength you carry, even when you forget. It shows you the next small step toward becoming who you were meant to be. And those who take the time to listen walk with a purpose that others can feel, even if they cannot explain it. Life does not withhold guidance. It simply waits until you are quiet enough to receive it. That is why sunrise is such a powerful moment. Before you step into the demands of the day, before deadlines and opinions crowd your mind, you have a chance to hear what is meant for you. The soft tones of life are not accidental, they are intentional. They require presence, they require openness, they require a willingness to slow down long enough to truly listen. And when you do, you find that direction comes easier, decisions become clearer, and your path becomes less tangled. Walking with purpose does not mean you have everything figured out. It means you move forward with a sense of inner alignment. It means you carry clarity inside you, even when the world feels uncertain. It means you trust that the guidance you receive in quiet moments will sustain you through the louder ones. Those who listen at sunrise do not walk faster or louder, they walk steadier. They walk with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing they are connected to something deeper than their fears. There will always be people who rush into their day without pausing to hear the soft tones of life. They may accomplish much, but often they move without direction, without grounding, without meaning. But those who make space for listening, especially in the tender light of morning, find themselves guided by a purpose that does not waver. They do not walk aimlessly. They walk intentionally, with a sense of peace that follows them long after the sun has fully risen. So when the morning comes and the world is still gentle, listen. Not with the urgency to find answers, but with the openness to receive whatever wisdom arrives. Life is speaking to you in those soft tones, offering direction with each new dawn. And when you choose to hear it, you walk into your day not as someone lost, but as someone led, someone moving with purpose, someone rising with intention, someone in tune with the quiet truths that shape a meaningful life. Your spirit rises before your body does. Acknowledge the strength of that awakening. long before your eyes open, long before you shift beneath the covers. Something inside you has already begun its journey upward. Your spirit is always the first to rise. It wakes not because of an alarm, not because of routine, not because of obligation, but because it is built to rise. It has survived long nights of fear, long seasons of uncertainty, long battles you told no one about, and still, without fail, it stands up before you do. That is not a small thing. That is not something to overlook. That is strength, pure and enduring, living within you even on the days you feel tired, discouraged, or undone. Your spirit rises in a way your body cannot imitate. It rises with memory, with lessons, with every fragment of wisdom you have gathered through joy and hardship alike. It carries everything you have endured and still insists on lifting itself. When you open your eyes each morning, you are not greeting an empty shell. You are greeting a spirit that has already fought on your behalf. It has already whispered courage into your dreams, already quieted fears you may never fully recognize, already prepared a space inside you for new hope. This awakening is not accidental, it is intentional, and it is powerful. Yet, so often, people ignore this silent rising. They rush from bed into responsibility, carrying their bodies through the world while leaving their spirits behind. They measure strength by how much they can accomplish, how much they can endure, how much they can push through. But true strength begins in the spirit, not the flesh. It begins in the unseen part of you that stands up first. When you acknowledge that strength, when you take even a moment to recognize the courage within you that wakes before you, you begin your day grounded in something deeper than tasks and expectations. You begin rooted in the resilience that has carried you this far. Your spirit's awakening is not loud. It does not demand your attention. It simply rises, steady and faithful, ready to guide you if you choose to follow. And when you pause, just for a breath, to notice this rising, you honor the part of yourself that has weathered storms you thought would break you. You honor the part of yourself that refuses to give up. You honor the quiet power that moves you toward healing, toward growth, toward truth. This acknowledgement does not require ceremony. It requires presence. It requires gratitude. It requires the willingness to see yourself as more than a body crossing through a busy world. When you begin your day recognizing the strength of your spirit, everything else shifts. Challenges feel a little less sharp. Doubts feel a little less heavy. You walk through your hours with a quiet foundation beneath your feet, knowing you are supported by something within you that does not tire easily. You no longer move from emptiness. You move from fullness. You no longer step into your day feeling behind. You step into it already lifted by the part of you that woke long before the morning light. So when you wake tomorrow and the world is still soft, take a moment to acknowledge your spirit. It rose before your body did. It rose with purpose. It rose with resilience. It rose with love for who you are becoming. And when you honor that rise, you step into the day with a strength that cannot be taken, cannot be shaken, and cannot be dimmed. The world is reborn every morning. Listen to what this new version of life invites you to become. Each dawn wipes the slate a little cleaner, softens the weight of what came before, and stretches before you a landscape untouched by yesterday's mistakes or exhaustion. Every morning is a quiet rebirth, a gentle reset offered without judgment. The world does not ask who you were yesterday. It does not hold your past against you. It simply opens its eyes beside you and begins again. And in that beginning, there is an invitation, one that asks you not just to wake up, but to rise into a deeper version of yourself. When the sun climbs over the horizon, it does not question whether it is worthy of shining again. It does not ask permission to pour light across the earth. It simply does what it was made to do. And each morning, life invites you to reflect that same confidence. You are not asked to be perfect. You are not asked to have everything figured out. You are simply asked to show up, to meet this new day as someone who is willing to try, willing to grow, willing to step 1 inch closer to your true self. The world's rebirth is a reminder that you too are allowed to begin again as many times as you need. This new version of life asks you to listen closely because its invitations are not loud. They come in subtle shifts, the sudden feeling that you can let go of something that once felt heavy, the quiet belief that you are ready for a change you didn't think you could handle, the unexpected courage that rises when you remember everything you've survived. These invitations arrive like soft footsteps, like gentle nudges toward a direction you might not have had the strength to consider before. Life is always moving, always evolving, and it calls you to evolve with it. Intuition does not need noise to make itself known. It needs space. And morning is the only time many people allow themselves that space. Before your mind fills itself with questions, before fear starts pointing out every possible failure, before comparison has a chance to dim your spirit, your intuition speaks with a clean and simple truth. It tells you what you want, what you need, and what direction calls to you. It does not exaggerate or confuse. It does not speak from fear or pressure. It speaks from the quiet core of who you are. And when you listen in the morning, you hear it without the distortion of insecurity. Doubt, on the other hand, wakes slowly but loudly. It stretches itself through your thoughts, reminding you of every mistake you've made, every fear you've carried, every possibility of failure that could exist. It is heavy, persistent, and familiar. Doubt loves daytime. It loves noise. It loves movement. It loves the rush that keeps you too distracted to question its voice. And because doubt is so loud and so insistent, many people make the mistake of believing it is more truthful than intuition. But loudness is not wisdom. Noise is not guidance. Urgency is not clarity. If you dare to listen, the morning teaches patience. It shows you that growth is not always immediate, that transformation comes quietly, often unobserved, and yet relentlessly, like the rising sun. You are reminded that every day is a new opportunity to step closer to who you are meant to be, to align your actions with your values, and to honor the subtle progress that accumulates over time. The lessons of the morning are gentle yet persistent. They speak to the heart that is willing to hear and guide the one who is willing to move in the direction of their truth. The morning also teaches courage. It teaches that you are capable of rising even when the night has been dark, even when yesterday's doubts weigh heavily on your mind. Every dawn is a demonstration that life continues, that the world continues, and that you too can continue. It encourages you to face the day with awareness, to step into the unknown with faith, and to trust that the person you are becoming is strong enough to meet the challenges ahead. The morning reminds you that courage is not loud or dramatic. It is steady, quiet, and unwavering, and it begins by simply showing up for yourself. When you allow yourself to listen fully to the morning, you begin to live intentionally. You notice the choices that shape your character, the decisions that define your direction, and the small moments that reveal your resilience. You understand that becoming is not about reaching a distant goal, but about the accumulation of daily acts of awareness, compassion, and strength. Each morning is an invitation to reflect, to align, and to step forward with purpose, reminding you that who you are becoming is not separate from the choices you make today. And so, if you dare to listen, the morning becomes a teacher unlike any other. It shows you your own truth, it reflects your potential, it strengthens your courage, and it reveals the quiet power you carry within. It teaches you that becoming is a process, not a destination, and that each day offers the chance to rise a little higher, to move a little closer to the fullness of who you are meant to be. The lesson is always there, waiting in the first light for those who are willing to pay attention.